We're going to talk a little bit about the Coolfire 4, which of course the Coolfire 4, which has been reviewed a whole bunch of times already, so I'm not going to do a review on it, but I'll mention a couple things that haven't been mentioned yet. Getting off of e-cigs, getting onto e-cigs, getting off of analog cigs. Some people have problems. I've read online, or some people actually said they're giving up, they're going back to cigarettes. An update on all these button rattles that you've been hearing about for the past year on all kinds of devices with button rattles. And we'll be right back. Okay, let's start out with the Coolfire 4. Like I said, there's been plenty of reviews. If it wasn't for the reviews that I watched everybody else do, I probably wouldn't have bought one. Due to the reviews is why this was my device of choice. I was looking to replace my iStick 50 watt, which died on me after a month-ish. As I see online, many people have had problems with their iStick 50 watts. I got the 20 and the 30 watt. I still have them. They still work fine. But that 50 watt, I had it for about a month, and the display started getting little lines in it. And I tried to fix it, and I killed it. But a problem that I had from the get-go was the button. You click it in, but if you just relaxed your finger just a little teeny bit and it still clicked in, it would stop firing. The numbers would be going, but it wouldn't be firing unless you put like extra hard pressure on it, like that first initial push, and then your finger kind of relaxes whether you know it or not. And you would know it if you had the button that I had on my 50 watt. As soon as you relaxed a little bit, you'd be like, what, is the battery dead? And it wouldn't be, and it would be clicked in, but it needed that extra pressure on it all the time. That was my problem, but I've heard of other problems. People were having charging problems. One guy, he'd put it down, he'd go in the other room, he'd come back, and it'd be sitting there, and it'd be firing all by itself. Some people's would just die. Many problems with the 50 watt. So anyways, I had to replace it. And the Coolfire 4 came out just in time. It's just the right size. It's exactly what I wanted. I'm always saying one thing that I did like was the lanyard hole, which I thought was a good idea. I know there's other cases and leather pouches that probably have clips on them and stuff. But my problem is I would leave it everywhere. I'd go into another room. You're always carrying it with you. It's not, you know, if you had a cigarette, right, when you were smoking cigarettes, you'd put it out. You wouldn't be carrying the butt around with you everywhere you go. You'd toss it, you know. But of course with these, you can't toss it after you take a hit or a vape. You gotta hang on to it, or you're gotta go buy one every day because you keep throwing it out. So I find that I'll go into the other room, I take it with me, I put it down, you need your hands free, you walk back, and all of a sudden you're looking for it, and it's like, where did I leave it? And you're always going, if you're like me anyways, you're always going back, retracing your footsteps, and I'm all over the place. I was in the living room, to the kitchen, to the cellar, to the garage, and I'm going back and forth and around, and I'm always looking for it. And I'm telling you, I do this several times a day. I'm putting it down, I'm losing it. So I thought the lanyard hole was a good idea. At least when I want to put it down, I could just let go and let it hang, you know. Like I said, I'm sure they have belt clips and stuff. You could do that too. But anyways, it doesn't come with one, of course. Which would be nice, because what I found is it's very difficult to find one to work with it. I have a bag that I've saved a bunch of straps from over the years, from cameras. It came with cases that had straps that I didn't use. Just anything you could think of that might have came with a pouch or a cover, and a lot of things come with these little straps. And so I saved them all up in a bag. I figured someday I'd need one, like today. And I'm having a very difficult time. What I've run into is it's very wide and the hole is very small. So if you have one of those neck straps with a clip on it, you can get the end of it to fit through, but this is so wide it won't go around and it won't go on completely. And then I tried to get one of those split rings that you use for keys. I figured I'll put that on there and then I can clip the lanyard to that. Well, I got a rather small one, maybe 3/4 to 1 inch in diameter. If you go too big, it's going to be too fat. So I got one of those and I started snaking it through, and when it came around to where the split tooth meets up, that last part that's got a clip on, it was too fat and it wouldn't go through the hole. It was just locked there. Like I say, if you went bigger, it's thicker. If you go skinnier, the circumference, diameter, the radius of the clip is too small to go through this wide opening. So it's difficult. So anyways, I think I finally found one. The only way you're going to get away with this is one of the ones I had saved from something, I don't know what, but it's not really that important what it came from. But there is a name on it, I think, and I'll bore you with reading it. If I can read it, geez, you know, I'll tell you, my eyes are getting more and more worser. They're getting worser every day. Every day they're getting not as good as they used to be. Well, oh, Canon. This must have came from my little camera there, the Canon. Oh, what do you call that little one? I love that little camera. It's a little elf. I've had it for years. Anyways, you need something like this with a soft end. And I haven't even tried this yet. I just literally found this a few minutes ago. But I think, well, even this might be difficult getting it through. It's going to be snug. You need one with a, sometimes they have the little nylon thread. You get one that has a little nylon thread loop. You might actually need one of those, because I could probably fish this through with a hook. But you're going to need a soft one to get through it, you know, and then you put the other end through that and you pull it. If that would even go through, because you got this fat end too. But anyway, it better work, because this is what I need. Yeah, I think that would work. Anyways, that's what you're going to need. They should have included one. It's so difficult to find something that works with this. They were kind enough to put the hole there for the lanyard. Even if they charge you an extra $1 or $2, it would have been worth it to get one that's customized to fit it. So that's that. That's my lanyard fixed. The other thing is, oh, I don't know, somebody complained about you can't see the light, like when you're, what stage of the game you're at. Anyway, someone mentioned that you can kind of see it through the lanyard, the color, when you push it, you could see that green or something. I also noticed that the vent holes here, the light actually shines through there. I don't know if you can see it or not with all these lights on in here, but the light actually shines through there too. So you can kind of see it. The other thing that I want to mention was, oh yeah, in the owner's manual, you know, the light is, you know, green fully charged, yellow 50%, and red time to recharge. In the owner's manual, it says to get the best battery life out of this, to recharge it when it's down to 10% left. But there's no way to know when it's 10%. The only clue that you have in the owner's manual is, like I said, green is 100%, yellow is 50%, and then it goes to red, which says, they say charge immediately. So I don't know, I guess on the lower end of the yellow scale, you'd be coming on at 10%, and the battery picture is like every other one. It doesn't, it'd be nice if it said 100, 90, 80. percent charge. Well, just like this Nexus tablet that I'm using to record this, it has the same little picture of a battery, and then I know the screen's small, but right next to it, it says 100, 90, 80. It tells you the percentage too. They could have just done that instead of having a picture of the battery. But anyways, yeah, so they mentioned that. And another thing it mentions in the manual, and I know some people gripe about it, is all the iSticks have well, except for the 20 and the 30 watt, they have the 2200 milliamp hour mAh battery, 2200, and the Coolfire, and that goes to 30 watts. The Coolfire goes to 40 watts, and it's a step littler. It's a 2000 milliamp hour battery. I believe it's the same 2200 that's in the iSticks, because online, when I was reading the description on the Innokin site on the Coolfire 4, they actually put it in print 2200 milliamp hour, but they preferred to give you an accurate milliamp hour rating of 2000. So I imagine it's the same milliamp hour that's in the other ones with the 2200. But in their testing, they found that it's 2000, and probably it's the same thing. The iSticks say 2200, but however you measure it, in reality, it's probably giving you about 2000 milliamp hour of real life. So it's probably the same thing. The Coolfire. Oh, I know. One more thing. It doesn't just pertain to the Coolfire, it pertains to your iSticks too. It seems that everybody that reviews it, and other mods. Oh, that fan rattle. Everybody mentions the button rattle. I laugh every time I see somebody, and I look forward to it. I see a new device coming. I watch the reviewers, which are great. You know, all the reviewers that I watch are great. Like I say, I watch them. That's what helped me make my choice. But every one of them likes to mention the button rattle, which I really think is like the most stupid thing to complain about. It's like complaining when you go to Burger King, you get a hamburger, and some of the lettuce is actually sticking out past the edge of the bun. You can see that lettuce sticking out. I mean, that shouldn't be. The lettuce should be inside the bun, and it's worth complaining about that the lettuce is sticking out. It's just so dumb, because the only time you hear this rattle is when you do this. You do that. Here, listen. The only time you hear it is when you're rattling the hell out of it. In normal usage, you never, ever, ever, ever the button rattle. The only time you hear it is when you do that. When you're using it, you don't hear any button rattles. Unless your normal way that you vape is like this. Okay, my whole top is loose. See, I heard it rattling. That's what it is. You gotta do this. You gotta do this. You watching this in Innokin? Innokin, watch this. Yeah, that's what it is. But you know what? It doesn't rattle that bad. It seems to rattle worse, like that. You know what it is? Probably because when you're using it, you got your finger on one of the buttons, so now that one's not rattling anymore. You just hearing that one. These rattle a little bit. So I guess if you want to go from volts to watts, or watts to volts, or change your settings like while you're vaping, maybe. Yeah, maybe you can watch the puff counter. See, now I don't hear them rattling at all. Oh, wait a minute. I just did. That was normal usage, right? No. Anyways, pretty much enough on that. Every time I see a new review, I'm just waiting. Are they gonna mention the button rattle? It's dumb. Don't mention the button rattle anymore. It's not something that's normal usage that you hear. I mean, there's probably a million things I could do to this and complain about it, but it's not something that you normally do when you're using it. Like, oh, I got one. You know, when I put it this way, it stands up fine, but when I put it this way, it falls over. It falls over when I put it this way. You know, Innokin, you gotta do something about that. It should, you know, look at that, and it's not just an Innokin. Look, here's an iStick 30 watt. See, it'll stand good this way, but look, when I do this, I can't. It won't stand up. It won't stand up. There's something definitely wrong. There's something wrong there, and you gotta fix this. You gotta fix it. I'd like to see on your next revision, fix it. How about Innokin Cool? Hey, you know what? I just thought of something. Coolfire 1, Coolfire 2. They skipped the 3 and went right to Coolfire 4. I will bet you that they're going to come out with a Coolfire 3, and the 3 not only is going to have the button rail gone, but now, thanks to this reviewer that pointed out something that was never mentioned before, when you put it this way, it doesn't stand up anymore. They've got to have some like little legs. Maybe you could like pop a button and they shoot out and it'll stand up just like a tripod on a camera. So when you're putting it this way, because sometimes you do want to look at it this way, you know, so you could see if your switch is on or off, you know. Anyways, okay, I went enough on that, but yeah, the button rattle, please just stop. Don't ever mention the button rattle again. I love your reviewers. I'm not picking on anybody because, like I say, you guys do a great job. And there's nothing for me to review on it. You guys did it all already, and you sold me on it. And one other thing I wanted to talk about was getting off of the stinkies, right? Like I mentioned, I read something where somebody, they were just giving up on it, and they just wasn't doing it for them. I'll just tell you my story and what I found, what works, what doesn't work. I was kind of in the same situation for a while. I started out with a couple disposables. We're going back 2 or 3 years now. I went to the V2s, the rechargeable V2s, and 18% on them. They weren't doing the trick. I was using those, and I was still smoking. And watching all the reviewers, you know, I learned about other devices that were a little stronger, a little more powerful, and I gave them a shot. I bought, I almost bought the Twist and the Ego type batteries, but I ended up, the 20-watt iStick came out, and I bought that one. And, the little Pro Tank 3s and the what is this one called? The Ulang, something like that. The Mini Fogger, little rebuildable. You know, I was looking for something that was rebuildable, but it was small, would fit on the 20-watt. This is on the 30-watt. But which, by the way, I don't hear a whole lot of talk about this Mini Fogger. It's a little pain to build on. But God, this thing gives tremendous flavor. I'm always impressed. I mean, even I bought the Kanger sub tanks and stuff, which have much better airflow. This is very tight draw on this, even with the ring off. But the flavor, gosh, I gotta say, it's as good as the sub tanks. It really has a lot of flavor, but the draw is terrible on it. But anyways, I went to this and the Mini Pro tanks, and they helped quite a bit. And bought the sub tanks, and I subscribed to Sample Box and Nitpick, I forgot the Nitpick, something like that, to try some different juices. And I still was having a problem. I mean, I was still smoking a little bit less, but I was still smoking and using the, vaping. Um, and the key, the trick that really turned the corner for me was finding the right juice. I subscribed to these services and I put down what I thought I liked in the profile, send me fruity flavors and this and that. And I was doing that, plus I was still ordering a couple bottles here and there from other places that got good reviews on certain flavors that I wasn't going to get in the sample boxes or were going to take forever to get. So I actually quit the monthly services and decided once a month I'd order some juices from a company. I found one website that had sample packs like your favorite juices, and they'd have a little better price on it. You get 5 bottles for the price of 4, or the company has 6 flavors, and for a certain price you could pick 4 of the ones you wanted for a little better price than just ordering those bottles. And I figured, well, once a month I'll put it in order like that, $40 or $50 for these samples of them. It's all I could afford to do once a month with something like that. Because in the sample kits, like I thought I wanted the fruity flavors, stuff like that. And like I said, I just wasn't satisfied. And to be honest with you, I ordered the 5 Pawns. They have a sample pack that only seems to be available on the 5 Pawns site. I have never seen it in these other sites. They just have the bottles for $27.50, $28.50. Which is very expensive to try the 5 Pawns at, $28 a pop, especially if you don't like it. But on the 5 Pawn site, for $24.50, you can get these little, you can get five sample bottles, and they'll have it in their series. I forget the name of the series, but they had their original series that they came out with. I don't know, Majestic series, I forget the name of it. But you would get 1 sample of each one of those flavors, and they're little 4mm bottles. I think I have an empty one here. They're so, almost empty. Well, I have something else in it here just to compare. Here's a 30mm bottle, and then here's the little sample bottle they give you. It's like I said, I think they're 4mm in here. And you get 5 of them, 1 of each one of the flavors in that series that they came out with, like their original series. For $24.50, you get to try 5 different 5 Pawn flavors. Like I say, $24.50. It's a great way to try them without spending a lot of money. And what I found was I really liked the Grandmaster, and the Gamut was pretty good, and they all were pretty good, but I really fell in love with the Grandmaster, and I noticed that there's quite a few companies out there that are duplicating it now. They're very similar ingredients, very similar flavors. But what I'm getting at is that juice I fell in love with. It did it for me. It enabled me to get off of regular analog cigarettes. I'm going through that juice like crazy, enough that well, here, let me point you in this direction for a second. I don't know if you can see it because I don't know what you're seeing, kind of. If I get up and I could take a look. This is my my little table of junk. I started mixing my own stuff now. I got a bunch of flavors, and I got a whole table devoted for it, just making my own juices now. And I'm making a juice. Pardon me while I try to get this adjusted back where I had it. I think I got it right. I'm making juices that are comparable. I went online, did a search, see if anybody's had a homemade recipe that pretty much duplicates it. And I found a couple that were very good. And they satisfy me. They did the job, you know. But what I'm getting at is you gotta find the right juice. You need a device that delivers. As soon as I started using these like higher powered devices, I was using 18 milligrams of Nic with the V2. I quickly, when I went to the tanks, I was getting nicotine headaches and stuff. I quickly jumped down to the 12 milligram. This is when I was still, like, before I was making my own. I was ordering a lot still in the mail. I would get the juices in the 12 milligram. I'd start vaping them. By the time I started vaping those, I was still getting a headache. Then I went to a dripper, which even delivers. What I should have mentioned is these tanks and more powerful and better tanks, they deliver the flavor better than the little cigalikes. They also deliver the nicotine better. So what you were using in those little cigalikes, once you put them in something like this, the delivery is so much better. It's so much more efficient. That 18 milligrams of nicotine in a better tank with more power behind it, it delivers the nicotine and the flavor. You'll find that you're going to have to lower it quickly. So I went from an 18 to a 12 by the end of that month, like it was a monthly thing. The next month I went down. I'm using 6 now, and I'm mostly using a dripper now. And I'm not getting the headaches. And what I found was, once you find a juice that you really do like that does the trick, you're going to be vaping more than you were before because you like it now. And because you're vaping more, you're going to start ODing on the nicotine, and you know you're sucking it down a lot more. You're smoking the cigarettes less, or not at all, hopefully. And sucking on this a lot more, so you're using more, so you got to start cutting down on the nicotine. You'll find out. But anyways, that's the main thing. You stick with it. I thought I liked the fruity flavors. I ended up liking more of the, I don't know what category you put it in. It's it's got the caramel and the peanut butter, stuff like that, and it's more, I don't know what, candy bakery combination kind of thing. I still enjoy some of the fruit flavors, but that wasn't my niche. That alone wasn't doing it for me. So if you're trying to quit the cigarettes, you're trying to get off of them, you're trying these different things, keep trying. When you find that right juice, it's going to knock it out of the park for you. You're finally going to say, wow, this is doing it for me. You're going to be sucking that juice down faster than you can get it in the mail. You're going to be running out of juice, and you'll find you'll just automatically just start noticing that you're reaching for this more than the pack of cigarettes. I can remember I got to the point I would have a cigarette still once in a while, and it'd be like I'd have the cigarette going, and then I would reach for my vapor, because it was like I wanted the vapor. I was missing the vapor. I enjoyed it better. The cigarette didn't taste as good anymore. This tasted better than the cigarette, and that's when I knew I finally hit my stride. I hit my mark. So don't give up. Keep trying. Find the right juice. If the cigarettes do it for you, if you weren't a heavy smoker, I was a pretty heavy smoker. I was smoking, I was smoking a pack and a half a day. I was smoking a pack a day for 20 years. Then I quit for 12 and a half years. And I could find excuses, but after 12 and a half years, things were happening, and just one day I went and I bought a pack of cigarettes, and then I went back on it for like 7 years. So, 27 years of smoking. And the second, when I went back, I was smoking a pack a day. I always limited myself to a pack a day. Because if I go over that, that's too much. Everybody that I heard that had died from cancer from smoking cigarettes, their stories were they were never a pack a day smoker. They always were a 2 or 3 pack a day smoker. And I says, I never want to get to that point. So I always limited myself to a pack a day, thinking that I won't ever die from cancer because everybody that did was 2 or 3 pack a day. So that was my thinking. Anyways, when I went back to smoking after the break for many years, I ended up smoking more than I originally did. And like I said, I was doing a pack and a half a day, sometimes 2. And that's when I seriously started looking into the e-cigs. I saw which direction I was going. And I'm getting older and I'm smoking more. So anyways, that's it. Keep trying different juices till you find what works for you. And just a rechargeable pen type like the V2 or I guess the MIG cigs, I guess are supposedly pretty good. The Halo, there's a bunch of them out there. I know the throwaways, the completely non-rechargeable ones. I tried a bunch of them too, and the best one that I found out was called the Enjoy King. Enjoy King. They don't last long. You'll be buying one and you'll be throwing it away in the afternoon because it'll be spent, and you got to buy another one. But those were the ones that were the most realistic, the best tasting out of all the throwaway ones that I tried was the Enjoy King. So give them a try, work your way up, whatever works for you. Whatever works for you if it gets you off cigarettes. But if you're already to this point and still not satisfied, I believe you're just not finding the right juice yet. You got a good unit. You got to find the right thing to put in it that satisfies you. And that's about it. I don't know how long kinds of problems. This is going to be a long video if I don't take some of this junk out of here.